Hi folks, welcome to Federal Premium's Vital Zone. This week we're going to be joining up with Buckmaster's Brian Hicks as he heads to Montana. Let's go right to the hunt. You can see Brian's got a shooter buck coming his way. He's just being patient and getting his gun up and getting ready, but he's got to walk pretty good ways to get to an open before he can get a shot. And Brian's left-handed, kind of just like me. He's got to get that right elbow planted down there on his knee so he can get a solid rest. So he's trying to do that as that buck's walking, but he's got some trees right there that buck needs to clear before he gets an open shot. And the other thing is this buck's going to be kind of quartering to him a little bit, so he's just waiting for him to stop before he can put his crosshairs on him. But as you'll notice right here, this deer's getting ready to stop. He stops right there, and being left-handed, kind of coming in from the left right there, Brian's going to have to put his crosshairs a little bit more up to the left on his shoulder than he would if that buck was perfectly broadside. So there's the crosshairs right there in the center to the left. So now let's go take a look at the shot. As you can tell right there, Brian hits that buck pretty doggone good, but let's do this. Let's put it in slow motion and see exactly where the bullet hits the deer. As you can see the red dot right there, that's where the bullet hits the buck. It's just a hair to the right where Brian was aiming, but let's do this. Let's go to the Federal Premium Vital Zone and see exactly where that bullet goes through the vitals. As you'll notice the bullet coming in right here, it was a little bit right of where he was aiming, but it still got the middle part of the left lung, a complete pass through the liver right there, and this deer didn't go 100 yards. It was definitely a fatal shot. Here's a few tips for you on that particular buck right there. Brian was very patient. He let that buck, move toward him. He didn't shoot when that buck was right there behind some trees right there. He let him come out to the opening. Now, one thing he noticed was that buck was quartering to him, and you've got to be aware of that. With that buck being quartering to him and being left-handed, he had to bring his crosshairs up and a little bit left to the shoulder right there. Now, he shot a little bit to the right of where he was aiming, but he was still okay because he got the middle part of the left lung and went out through the liver. If he would have placed his crosshairs kind of behind that shoulder right there and he shot a little bit to the right, he possibly could have hit that deer in the stomach right there and he might not have found the buck. Another thing is he didn't have a rest, so he used his elbow basically to dig down into his knee to give him a solid rest. That was another key right there. So there's a few tips for you, and that's another buck, part of the Federal Premium's Vital Zone.